get paid off normal, like twice a month.
We'll call to order our finance committee meeting at 4:45. Let the record reflect all members are present except for Mr. Nakhan and Mr. Alco. First item, request of approval to pay list of bills submitted through December 8th, 2023. Motion by Mr. Carter.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval for salary code changes for the following. Donna Gilfo, 50% general fund, 50% 1%.
Yeah, this is instead of just having both of them 100% general fund.
And Haven Setatow, 50% general fund, 50%
Yeah,
1%.
50/50 is split.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carter.
Second.
Second by Mr. Como. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of the 2024 boat launch lease renewal with Terry Blanchard.
So moved.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Como,
Second.
second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor?
When it comes out of,
General fund,
how much is it?
well, recreation is general fund, $200.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of the 2024 boat launch lease renewal with Ricky Landry.
So
Motion by Mr. Johnson. Second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of the 2024 polling places contract renewals.
These are same polling places from 2023. There is no change in locations.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Mathern,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of the 2024 jail physician contract renewal with Dr. Keith Landry.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Mathern,
Same cost.
Same thing.
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to accept the renewal contract with Assumption AARC.
This is the one that I presented, that I emailed to you all, that they did submit to us requesting a 4% increase. Just for your information purposes, in the budget for 2024, I did incorporate a 3% increase. The estimated ending fund balance at 2024 is $313,000. At this point, it's a matter of whether the jury wants to continue this recycling program, and then if they do they want to continue with an increase or not?
Anybody here from the off that actually answer why they want to increase, what the increase was for?
They have come before to us, and they basically said without our money, they can't fund the program.
You gonna give them what they get?
I would like to see where the money is being spent at.
So they're asking for a
Line
4%
items.
increase.
In order to help us meet our needs, we are requesting a 4% increase in funding to assist our agency in providing the best services to the individuals we support and to our community. We know rising costs has affected us all, but we would greatly appreciate the consideration of the increase.
Consideration. Well, it's a good program. You've got these
Yeah.
handicapped people that couldn't be working nowhere else, and it
Very
helped
good
them
program.
work. So
Well, yeah.
Totally understand that,
Yeah.
but if they could operate at a fixed number, why give them extra?
I don't think they can operate it.
Yeah.
That's just, it was probably, do you remember, Mike, when you were in office, that they came here and
Yeah,
they
first.
big
Yeah, first.
deal
Okay.
and.
They invited anyone to go tour and
Right.
stuff to see.
It's a very good program.
I mean, we budgeted 3%. I'd be in favor of countering that 4% with the 3% that we have budgeted and see if they
Yeah.
accept it.
yeah. I go along with that.
Good now, we're 2%.
I'll make a motion that effect.
I got a second.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Como to counter their 4% with the 3%, second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Discuss raises for employees that are retired.
I'll put that on the agenda. I know the evaluations and the raises was for the performance that employees did in 2023. we have 2 employees that are retiring in January. They didn't get a raise. They didn't even get evaluated because of they retired in January. I just think that although they're gonna get paid a short time in January, they deserve whatever they should have gotten for that short period of time. Because it is fully their performance in 2023, not 2024.
And also they will have some carryover hours on that they will be paid for.
That would be based on the increased rate.
Yes.
I can see how Secretary Treasurer was looking at it, and I came from that perspective, but also as you brought it to light, Mr. Carter, I do realize that those persons did work throughout the year, and most definitely they would have wanted to have been evaluated, and I most definitely would be in favor of them being recognized for.
Do you have be able to quantify how much that would impact our budget?
I can't quantify it, but it changes all my numbers because I used what numbers I had and distributed amongst my employees. They would have to be, I'd have to do an evaluation on them to see what level they would fall in. Because remember, the scale was altered.
Sure.
So it can't, it's not an automatic 3% or,
Yes.
it's 12 days of employment and the hours.
Yeah. So, and then you had an overage, right, Kim, with you had to divide among certain employees.
Right.
That's what she's referring to.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
I mean, I guess you can do an evaluation on them, see what they would get, and then maybe take it out that overage and just give it to them like that.
I think what she's saying is she was finished, she had it done already.
I understand,
Yeah.
I understand that, but
I mean, we're going to be faced with another item on the personnel where we have somebody that's looking to come in for higher than what we have budgeted that I'm trying to. advise those
I
funds. So
understand that. And
that's
all
why
that.
it's on the agenda for you all to advise.
I understand all that, but I just feel like, these employees worked the whole year and whatever raise they should have got, they earned it, so.
They're retired, right?
Huh?
They're retired.
They're gonna be retiring, but if somebody would be retiring in June or July, they would still got the raise. What's the difference? We're gonna punish them because they're retiring in January?
I think it's punishing them. I don't see it that way, but I understand the.
Yeah, that little money make a difference for some people.
Not only that,
Tell them stay working.
I didn't get to speak to any of them, but I do know that, I can't say nothing that was just done there intentionally. I truly understand what the Secretary of Treasury was doing. However, I do also know that the employees perhaps will feel some type of way if it was one of you had worked a year and was not being recognized. We're looking at it from their perspective. I can see that. And that's, I just know I would want to be evaluated.
Okay, well, I put a motion on the floor to have those employees evaluated and give them whatever raise they would be entitled to.
There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Carter
Second.
to have the retiring employees evaluated, seconded by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we have a couple deviations, but I'd first like to move item 1 from the Engineering Grants Committee. Mr. Lusky with GIS has another engagement tonight. He asked if he could give his update before the Engineering Grants Committee meeting. So we'll hear that, then we'll discuss the deviations.
We need a motion specific to that.
No, because it's basically all on the agenda.
Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for moving me up. My son has his Christmas band concert, so I can't miss that. A lot of things have been going on the funding side in the way of the new governor's appointments, as in CPRA, DOTD, OCD, and also wildlife and fishery. All 4 appointments still need to be made by our new governor coming in, Jeff Landry. And I mentioned this to you guys because OCD is the one that's in charge of all the grants, LWI program, all the money's coming in. Obviously, CPR has a lot of money that funds levy boards. Some of these levy boards have appointments from CPRA and from other sources. So right now is the time to, if you know anybody and y'all want to network and talk and make calls, now's the time to try to help Assumption Parish try to position themselves. And then also CPRA had their board meeting this morning or lunchtime today. And with that, they went over their annual plan, not to be misconstrued with the master plan. So the master plan projects that we're pushing on behalf of the parish are in there. In Amelia Levy, looking at, I guess, the outfall project, and also the annual plan did not cover Amelia Levy. The annual plan is they're funded already. The projects that are already in their budget, their funds. So that's what just was covered today. So at this time, that's what's going on. Again, if y'all can make any calls to any senators or legislators and just give y'all, I guess, personal preferences or who's been helping out and just kind of working in the system, I guess is the best way to put it. So we're tracking it and we're having conversations. We don't know much right now. So that's pretty much where we are. Yes, sir.
I heard you make reference to two things, and I don't know if you were contradicting yourself. So the initial plan, you made reference to what's in it. And then you made reference to the annual plan where we have hopes that is perhaps, is it in the annual plan, the initial plan?
So the master plan,
Yeah.
Amelia Levy is in that project, is in there, right?
That's correct.
The annual plan is already funded. That's what they have on the books and it was going through their budget. That's what they covered today. All right, so the goal is by next year at this time, when they're going through the annual plan, we'll have projects in there, move from the master plan into the annual plan. So that's the trajectory.
Okay.
What else is there? I think that's levy board was held last week, ALBL, which is the Association of Levy Boards of Louisiana. We did attend it. We had some good meetings across the board, across the South between with Terrebonne Parish, with St. Mary Parish Levy Board, Chapel Island Levy Board. All those folks were there, and we tried to pitch the master plan projects as best as possible, and let them know we'd like to have a meeting with them. Also trying to get in with the new parish president over in Iberville, just to provide some guidance or brief them on all the lower and upper Terrebonne Basin watershed, what's been going on and what's all been done. So I did speak with Mr. Blanchard on that, trying to get together with him. So that's where we are right now. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.
While you up there, do you guys have any recommendation, as you made reference to speaking to our legislators? Is that a delegation here in VR, or are we referring to Washington, DC?
This is state level.
State
Right, state level appointments.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
All right, so we have two deviations on the finance committee. One is dealing with the conference for the staff of the Housing and Community Development to attend, and the other is a change order for the roof work that is being done on the courthouse. Motion deviation. Motion by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Opposed? All right, first deviation is a request approval for housing and community development staff to attend the ACAP conference February 5th through 8th, 2023 in Lafayette at approximate cost of $3,078.
I got a motion on the floor to accept.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Johnson. Any public comment on this item? Second call, third call, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Our next item is a change order from Sage Construction. If you remember, whenever we signed the contract for the roof, they anticipated that there may be some rot damage or so forth whenever they exposed the roof. And there were two areas that needed to be repaired. That's what this change order is a reference to. They changed the tongue and groove boards on the slope section, and there's a flat roof repair where there was an existing leak that they sealed up. Total cost of the change order is $3,870.20. Motion by Mr. Mathern, second by Mr. Johnson. Any public comment? Second call, last call. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Motion adjourned. Motion by Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor? Opposed? Finance Committee meeting adjourned.
5:02, we'll get the Personnel Committee meeting started. All members are present except Mr. Nakane. Item number 1, approve to end the probationary period for Haven Senator Special Assistant to the Secretary Treasurer effective December 15th.
Yes, Ms. Haven is doing a great job. She has caught on real quick to the minutes, and we are already incorporating her and helping us in the accounting.
Motion by Mr. Fabio. Second by Mr. Blanchard. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Number 2, discuss department supervisor evaluations. Maybe held in executive session. Motion by Mr. Alcorn. Second by Mr. Blanchard. All in favor? Any nays?
Motion to re-enter regular session.
Motion by Mr. Blanchard to re-enter regular session, seconded by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? All right, item number 2, we approve to have the employees evaluate the supervisors, road and bridge, the department heads, and then road and bridge have the supervisors and administrative staff evaluate.
You need a motion on that.
I got a motion on that, Mike.
Motion.
Also to add to your motion, all documents will go straight to the personnel chair, which is you, in a sealed envelope. And will be distributed through you to the jurors.
Second.
Second by Mr. Conway. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Item number 3, consider recommendation of supervisors for the distribution of excess increases for 2024.
Okay, I provided y'all this information. And I conferred and met with all department heads and they provided their numbers, so you all have been presented the information.
Like to change,
Change to yours.
to you, for your office, if, once you do the evaluations. Can we do approval at the next meeting on this?
And everything will take an effect on January 1 of 2024, correct?
For this table number. Number 4, discuss branch coordinator position.
We've also had communication about this. Miss Megan has taken another position with her former employer. She will be truly missed. She has come a long way in the short time she's with us, but she does feel that this position is just not best for her. So I do respect the fact that, you know, she has to go with what's best for her and what's best for her family. With that being said, we do have to move forward. I did contact an individual that had previously interviewed for a position, and she did come and meet with myself and Mr. Diaz, and we met with her last week. We did change the pay scale in this position, and she would be able to start in that position, but with a starting pay of $53,000. So that's where we are. The alternative is to advertise for the position.
You guys want to come in now?
Well, next year, January.
Yeah.
It would be January.
Are you
She holds a degree in accounting
In
as well,
accounting.
so I think she would work out good for this position, and I think she could benefit us by, she has grant experiences also. So I'll make a motion to go ahead and hire her.
Motion by Mr. Palmville,
Second.
second by Mr. Como. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion pass.
Question, how much time does Megan have left?
She gotta be
She got
trained.
1 day. She got 1 day.
She gotta train other
Okay.
employees first.
And when is this new employee scheduled to come in?
Next year.
Next year, January 1?
2.
Yep, January 2.
It's gonna be quite a burden on you.
With
guys.
that being said, we have a lot on the table. We have a lot of money that we have encumbered. And it's based off the administrating of these grants, okay? So, this young lady jumping head first into something she's probably may not be too much familiar with, she's definitely gonna need some assistance. That's just my opinion. So I know, instrumentally wise, that between Mr. Lusky and also Mr. Savoy have been instrumental in helping Megan with a lot of information and getting a lot of work, detailed work put into these grants. So we may have to lean on Mr. Savoy to help this young lady out. That's just my opinion.
My opinion right now is we need not apply for anything more and let us take care of what we have in-house.
Well, I'm not-
So if
I
that's
don't have
the
a problem with
case,
that, Kim.
but then that, I mean, most of those scopes are already in her possession, and we have that already, is the point of that.
We don't need nothing.
And the fortunate thing is we had a
Right.
2-week notice from Megan
she's
that she
been
was
working on
resigning.
that.
So I can tell you that I know, Mr. Blankenship has been in coordination with her, getting updated on some of them. Miss Melissa has been in coordination on some of them. So I think.
My
Yeah, so-
concern is we cannot let anything fall through the gaps. We have a lot.
I think
And I'm
our
glad we got a lot,
Won't
because
allow it to happen.
this jury has been very, very aggressive.
You gotta be careful.
So that's all I'm saying.
Kim, let me ask you, last year's Police Jury Association, I guess, Region 3 meeting, and a few of us went to it, and there was a lot of things came from it. One of them, the things that came from it was additional funding for branch writing for persons and for police jury organizations such as ourselves. Whereas they have got folks to help in that regard. That is for grant writing and the like. And they also spoke of having funding for the very same. And I don't task you with that, but I did share that with all of you, and I don't think we took advantage of it.
If it's okay with you all, when I answer this, I'd like Megan to come up and talk to you all as well, but I could be wrong because I didn't write any grants, but prior to when Aaron left previously, I did have to fill the gap and submit some grants. The actual writing of the grant is not where the time is consumed. It's the coordination of the grant. It's reaching out to these agencies. It's keeping track of the matching funds, where they come, federal versus state, state versus state. But that's where the time is involved. Megan, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but just so you all can get an idea. Actually putting the pen to the paper and writing it,
And everything else.
yeah, that would be great if we had that assistance, but she didn't even have time to reach out to somebody to get that assistance with trying to coordinate and keep a hold from 2 weeks to 2 weeks, the meeting of everything we can. You know, as Ron said, this has been a very aggressive jury. We have never had a jury that's been this aggressive. We have never had the volume of grants and opportunities that we have until now, which is why we're running into a match issue, because we've never had that before. Megan, give them some insight of your days and what it, just so they can have an idea.
So on a daily basis, I'm not just working with one grant. And yes, we've had a lot of them come in since I've taken the position. And like Ms. Kim said, the actual writing part in the beginning to apply is not that difficult. It's not very time consuming. It's the implementation part afterwards. And the making sure you have, because I mean, a lot of these were applied for and the matching funds weren't lined up. So then we do have to find those funds. And then if you didn't have the matching funds lined up before you applied for it, that's another issue, because then when a grant comes in, you just have to turn it down because if you don't have the matching funds, you can't proceed with it. But it's a lot of, whenever you're doing the implementation part, what the state is requesting from you, you run into a lot of red tape, and then you have to find your way around it. And then some people want to follow the rules, some people don't want to follow the rules. And so some people get in trouble, some people don't. But if, I mean, we get caught with something, we get caught, and then we could potentially lose that grant. So we have to make sure that we follow the rules no matter what. And following those rules are time consuming, because you just have to go through a whole process of, like, our cost analysis was one rule. It took us months to develop that cost analysis and actually do it. And then whenever you don't have the right information from the people that you need, you're falling short of the time that you actually have to do it.
It's just the volume is a lot. It's really, it's a lot of work for one person. But we have budget constraints. We can't just hire 2-3 more people just to administer grants. We know that. It's just a lot. You just gotta bear with us.
Grant, I mean, you set them up for a lot of grants have matching funds.
Nowadays, they all do.
They all do. I mean, we shouldn't even take looking at a grant if we can't afford to match.
Well, this is the first time I have ever seen where we've had this many grants.
Right.
And,
Yeah, there's a lot of grants out there. There's a lot coming out from the
and,
top.
what was happening that I seen, a grant would come up and they'd go out looking for a project. Where it should be, you got a project and you go look for the grant. Because there's thousands of grants out there. But you gotta figure out what you actually need. And I'll give you an example of it, that sidewalk grant. We never had sidewalk. That was nice to have them, but we had to have a match for that. And it was something we was not looking for.
And,
We was not looking for a grant for sidewalks.
and for example, on that one, so I don't remember who, it doesn't matter, but one juror came to the board and had an interest to apply for a grant for sidewalks. So the tap was looked into, but then by the time we got through the resolution, 5 more were added just for LaTap.
And before that grant ever came up,
I mean,
I was searching for a grant for the sidewalk where these people had gotten killed about a mile, half a mile. And I was turned down when it was actual. That was a good grant for that, for the project I had. I had a project looking for a grant. This other one was a grant looking for a project.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
So I think things have moved pretty fast for us, as you indicated, but what I shared with you all was from that Region 3 meeting. It says $20 million reserved from the federal government to be used as matching funds for federal grants. Guidance to be established by October the 1st of 2022. So that was in last year's Region 3 meeting. Watch this. And remember, we told Paul about funding for emergency preparedness vehicles and so forth. He did capitalize on that. We also had $4 million under Act 497 for a new program for technical grant writing assistance. But they didn't just leave you without some help in that regard as well. There also was, they also made reference to It also made reference to giving you the guidance and assistance with that as well. Here we go. Under that act, it also made reference to grant writing assistance under that $4 million, the same Act 497. So I don't know how much of that has been used up and if it's still available, but Guy Cormier had someone working specifically with that to aid with these jury systems like ourselves.
McCall.
I believe you have a motion in a second on the floor.
To obtain Miss, what's her
This
name?
employee.
This employee. You got a vote?
Chairman, and
Motion.
didn't you second it?
Yeah, Ron
Just
seconded.
add it.
Irvin second. Irvin.
Serve a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passed. Motion adjourned by Mr.
Second.
Blanchard, second by Mr. Palmville. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Meeting adjourned.
9:35, we'll go ahead and get started with the insurance committee meeting. Let the record reflect that all members are present. 3 items on the agenda. Number 1, discuss and approve 2024 workers' compensation renewal proposal from LWCC with an increase of $5,459. So did you get some information on that?
specific to what information? I mean, a modifier did go down, so that was good news. But they do still have a rate increase. Again, we still have a few claims out there, new claims, so I'm not sure how this is gonna impact moving forward. The biggest takeaway that I'd just like to state, as in confirm with Mr. LeBlanc, is that when we considered proposals last year, LWCC was not the lowest bidder, and this board chose to go with them because they were gonna come to the table and bring a whole another angle than what our workers' comp provider provided in the past. And that hasn't been.
A gamut of
It's
safety
not.
issues, and that hasn't been provided.
That was my question, to
And
see if
you
they
are-
provided that service.
And you are correct. You're absolutely correct. I did have a conversation with the representative from Simmons and Savoy. I did hear about the new claim that was submitted. I did hear that we didn't have a bad year as it pertains to claims. but I was very, very, very precise of all that we asked for as it pertains to the LWCC investigating the claims, making sure that they come and do surveys and spot checks to make sure that we're working in a safety manner, in the capacity, safety capacity. We talked about a number of things that we as the jury requested. And as the third-party agent, I stressed to them today that must come to pass. They are saying that they did come in contact with you this morning. They did make some phone calls trying to get in touch with the adjusters, this one and that one. But I was very, very precise in making sure that this come to pass in 2024, or we're gonna have some different conversations. So yes, you are correct, Mr. Paul. Absolutely, you're spot on.
We as a public works department, Mr. Blankenship, we have safety meetings every Monday now. So our employees have a safety meeting every Monday. But we've yet to have any type of input from LWCC to provide us with any more safety audits, or just a consulting. We need that. You know?
When did y'all start y'all safety meetings, Paul?
It's been probably almost 6-7 months ago.
So if the jury does, this is something we have to have. If the jury agrees to go ahead and renew the proposal, Mr. Paul, I want us to work closely together and make sure that we drill down into this together as it pertains to dealing with LWCC and making sure that they are providing the service that we are
Well,
requesting.
we gotta review it, they're not doing the job.
Well, we have to have workers' comps.
Yes.
We're at the end of the year, bro. So in this estimate, this is only an estimate more or less based off what we paid last year. So we have,
Yeah, it's always
It's
just a
always-
variable
yeah,
because
it's
it goes by
variable.
actual
Right,
payroll. So
exactly.
until actual payroll and the final audit is done, then that's when we get our true number, but it's the basis.
exactly.
Well, if you go
So with that being said, I mean, this is something that we have to have.
What was the estimated annual premium last year?
So 151, 366, $151,366.
That's the new one.
That's the new one?
That's the new one, yeah, so 5,000 less than that. The only other option we're faced with is we be in contact potentially with the Police Jury Association, see if they willing to price it, if they can even price it within a week and put it back on the agenda for next week.
See if they could do that, and let's put this back. Let's table
I
this.
mean,
for
that's
the
the only option. And I mean, as far as the existing claims that we have now, LWCC should still be responsible for that because it's in that contract year.
In that time till next week, can you reach out to the agent and see if we can get something in writing from LWCC of them committing to participating in the, claim prevention type program, rather than just having the word from the agent, like some acknowledgement from LWCC.
Say something?
Sure, she's here. You here? Oh, shit, they're here.
Yeah. Well, Morgan Bravo with Simmons and Southwalk. We weren't notified until today, actually, regarding your concerns with them not dealing with y'all. We're kind of out of the loop for the most part. And we've already reached out to them today. We weren't, if we're not notified, we don't know what's not going on. And so, like I said, we weren't notified until today that y'all were lacking in certain things. We know that they had made some site visits. We have record of that, but it wasn't until today that we were notified that y'all wanted something else that y'all weren't receiving. And so we've already reached out to the underwriter on it, requesting some things. We will reach out again tomorrow to see, I understand you want something in writing as
Right,
far
so-
as what they can
But
agree.
this was LWCC's idea, not our idea.
No,
Whatever we
I agree
presented
with
to
you,
them.
but I'm just
They wanted
saying,
to come, but by taking this policy, they wanted to bring a claim prevention program to the parish.
yes, no, 100%. But as agents, we're out of the loop. And
Sure.
so we have reached out to them already, and we could have done that all year long had we been notified. So we have reached out to them. We can see what we can get in writing from them as far as what they can, what they offer you, what they will commit to, and we can get that back to you as soon as we get it from
Right,
them.
I'd just like a commitment from them
Okay.
that they will do it in 2020 before we commit to. the
Absolutely.
renewal.
we reached out to the agents today to try to help us because we
Right.
weren't getting any response from
That was because
LWCC.
of a claim, employee claim. That was a different issue because we reached out to LWCC last week and was not getting a response. So I had to go to the agent to contact the LWCC to contact us so we could mitigate this claim that we're dealing with that happened last week. That's a whole different issue. I was, just, they wouldn't answer their phone calls Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I had to reach out to the agent to get in touch with him. And finally, I got a call at 3:30 this afternoon. But that's what that was about. She called me back, yes. Yes, she did call me back.
Is there anyway, I know we have when is our next meeting?
Next
Next
week.
week.
Next one. That might be kind of tight, to see if y'all can get in touch with someone from LWCC so we can meet with them. We can have a meeting, whether it's at your office, me, Mr. Paul, whoever else want to
We will
join.
try.
And see if I know it's a tight window.
But did somebody come out in February? Because we had a meeting that somebody came out.
Not that I remember.
Okay.
And in
So then there was a
summer as
visit,
well.
and
They
then there
made
was
a
a
visit to
follow-up
some
in,
sites.
in June.
I know I met with someone relative to some safety concerns. And there was a number of things that was to follow. There's a number of resources that they
So
were,
they did contact
that they
you.
were
for
to
that.
provide for Paul's group and all relative to meetings, relative to videos, that is films pertaining to safety, but
That you have not
I
received,
don't think any of that took place.
we will follow up with them on all that and try to see if we can get somebody for a meeting.
Thank you.
With it being the holidays, it's
Yeah,
tough.
I know it's a tight
We
window.
We will try.
So we're gonna table this item till next meeting. Item number 2, discuss case number 038396. Sumter Parish Police Jury versus Rose may be held in executive session. Can I entertain a motion to go into executive session with this item? Mr. Narcan, got a second by Mr. Diaz. All in favor? All opposed? Going to executive session. Goldman Sachs got out of that.
My chair done got cold.
I told him I'd see you at the meeting. Well, he had his wife at that LSU, and she finished at LSU last week.
Motion to go back in session.
Motion?
Yes.
Okay, on the item number 2, to discuss case number 038396. Can I,
Get the motion and read in a regular session.
okay, motion to re-enter regular
So
session
move.
by Mr. Nakane, also by Mr. Como. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and move to back to item number 2. Discuss case number 038396. Subject Parish Police Jury versus Rhodes. Can I entertain a motion at this time to tender the SIR?
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Palmville, got a second by Mr. Johnson, all in favor? All opposed, ayes have it, motion carried.
Actually, I can't, second it.
I'll second.
Mr. Nakane, got a second by Mr. Nakane, all in favor? All opposed, ayes have it, motion carried. Item number 3, discuss healthcare insurance relatively to police jurors. Mr. Carter?
Yeah, I put this on there, and it was discussing reference to police jurors that attain 20 years of service or more and then, leave off the jury. Kim, what is the current?
The current threshold depends upon when you're employed. So employees hired prior to January 1st, 2017 are eligible for 15 to 19-year threshold at age 55. Anyone employed after 1/1/2017, that 15 to 19-year threshold goes away. So then it's 20 to 29 years and then 30 years. The rate of pay for 20 to 29 years is 50%, 50-50. And 30 years is 25% for the retiree and 75% for the juror. All of this has to be at age 55. You need years of service and age.
I think I want to do a little more research on this before I make a motion on this.
And just to be clear, that's for all employees, right? Not just,
That's all employees.
all employees.
So, Mr. Carter, you want to table this at this time, but this is almost kind of injunction of something that the waterworks does.
Well,
They're
I
both-
talked to Mr. BJ today, and the water board, as long as they're serving on the board, they're 100% paid for medical insurance. Once they retire and they got 20+ years, they fall in the same system that the employees fall under. So basically, what Kim just said, whatever the employees fall under, that's what they have to pay.
But I think the difference, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the water board members don't have a salary. That's a big difference.
They have a small salary, I think.
Yeah, they don't have no
Small
match
stuff.
at all.
So we're gonna table this item at this time.
Yes, table.
Motion to adjourn
Motion.
by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Palmville, all in favor? All opposed? Meeting adjourned.
All right, we'll go into the engineering grant committee meeting. All members are present. First item is update from the grants coordinator.
Good afternoon. As of November 22nd, we are non-compliant with our water sector program grant. We took a while to decide on that alternate scope or the original scope, and so the engineer did not have time to complete those plans for the alternate scope by that date. And I also had to submit a request for change of scope and an extension for those additional plans to be completed. So Brian and I are attending the water sector program meeting tomorrow to see what they tell us on the change of scope and the extension. But they did question me that going with that alternate scope removed our consolidation from the grant, which was where most of our plans were awarded. So I'm not sure how it's gonna turn out, but I'll update everybody as soon as I get back to the office tomorrow. She did call me, our contact did call me today, and they want to verify the extension that I requested, which was a 5-week extension. because the engineer said that they would be able to complete the alternate scope of, plans and specs right before Christmas. So I think when I've, calculated the 5 weeks, it's like the beginning of January.
So that meeting is tomorrow. She will be attending that meeting.
That's all I have for my update, but I have the next, 3 items.
Okay, the next item is a resolution to approve additional matching funds in the amount of $22,500 from Ward non-rec to cover FP&C fees for the Shell Beach boat launch.
When I brought that match to y'all before for Shell Beach, I just gave y'all the match amount that we needed, but I didn't factor in the total of the 22,500, which was the FP&C fee. That we didn't allocate to cover those those fees. So I'm just asking if we can allocate it 22,500 from Ward 9 rec. to
Yeah.
cover
And Ward non-rec has those funds
Yeah.
due to Mr. Irvin
Yeah.
because you helped Mara.
Yes.
All right,
So.
Motion approved.
Motion approved.
motion by, Jeff,
Second.
listen to Mark. Second by Mike, all in favor? Opposed?
So that grant, everything, that vote on, everything's fun, everything should
Now
be
that now
fun.
that y'all approved that, I will place that CEA in the mail tomorrow.
Okay, next is request approval of a resolution to ratify the president signing the contract with Infinity Engineering for the water sector program as discussed in engineering committee meeting on 11/8/2023.
It was approved to sign the contract with Infinity on the 11/8 date during that meeting, the engineering committee meeting, but it wasn't restated in the public.
Motion.
Motion by Ron,
Second.
second by Jamie, all in favor? Opposed? Next is request jury to consider and approve regulations 200.324 contract cost and price and 200.325 federal awarding agency or pass-through entity to review in the personnel manual to meet the CDBG procurement policy requirements.
So this is, I have those regulations in front of you all, if you would like to review them, but this was a request that came up upon CDBG reviewing our procurement policy and stating that those were missing. And in order to move forward with our Constant Canal project, we do have to approve those regulations to be included in our procurement policy.
More regulations that complicate the processes even more. This is just an example.
That's the type of stuff that we're talking about that cannot fall between the gaps when Megan will be gone.
And see, this is something that I didn't even know about. This came
We
up
don't know
with our
till-
monthly call,
I
and
haven't
it just
known.
happened to
Mhm.
just randomly come up in a question that I had asked her, and then she sent this information in as well. We've already approved or adopted, I think, additional stuff for our procurement policy. I kind of think a meeting before this.
And most of the time, when we come to you all with regulations and federal requirements and things that we're trying to incorporate in the policy, that's how it's coming about. Because an agency that we're seeking funding for is pulling our policy and saying, okay, this is what you have, but this is what you're missing. So then, one more thing to add to the list.
Which something that we do have in our procurement policy already is from the CDBG manual and their procurement policy regulations, and this is just an additional thing that they are adding to it.
Yeah, I got a motion.
So we need a motion. Motion was by Ron, second by Jamie. All in favor? Opposed? Next
So,
Hey,
item.
Megan, Mr. Calabro, any word on that review of the documents for Platteville Drainage Project?
I think I just have to draft a cast sale, which I think I already have. I just gotta meet their specifications, which will be done next week.
Appreciate you.
So Kim, if I heard you correctly, this is Megan has one day
Tomorrow.
and she'd be working at a meeting on that day. but-
She's been very helpful in the last 2 weeks in trying to tie up some loose ends for us.
And we
She
thank you.
could have just said,
Yeah.
but she
Thank you
didn't.
for everything.
Megan, we appreciate the effort you put forward while you've been here.
Thank you.
It's been commendable. I'm sorry to lose you.
I do have a very detailed list of our needed grants and the submitted ones and the ones that are in application stage for the person coming in after me. they'll be able to follow my notes.
Give me a cell phone.
Huh?
Don't do that, don't do that.
Thank you for a job well done.
The entire time I have been here, actually, my prior job has been messaging me for, advice on permits that they're handling and trying to fill out properly. And I can recall who I spoke to, who I contacted, and for all those agencies. So I just let them know, and they get their new person to take care of it. So if y'all do have any questions.
Sincerely.
So you're saying you can work here and there, I think.
No, that's not, y'all can reach out if y'all need some.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Big loss, big loss.
Next item is, request the president to sign a cooperative endeavor agreement between Assumption Parish Police Jury and Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office, giving the Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office possession and ownership of the Starlink satellite-based mobile equipment.
Yes, sir, that cooperative endeavor agreement's on your desk, Mr. Blanchard. We've had Mr. Calabro review that agreement. We sent it over to the sheriff. His legal department reviewed it and he signed it. It's just pending your signature. That satellite equipment was purchased on our emergency EMPG grant for last year, and the parish will be reimbursed for it once we get the receipt from the vendor.
Motion by Mike, second by Jamie, all in favor? Opposed? Next item, to request approval for the president to sign the CRI Community Readiness Initiative contract.
Yes, sir, that's, we need a resolution from the parish authorizing the parish to sign the CRI contract. Once we get the resolution to the state, then they'll send out the CRI contract for the president's signature. This is something that's done annually, and the parish recoups funds from that project.
Motion by Jeff, second by Johnson, all in favor? Opposed? Next item is discuss and review trailer park policy and ordinance.
Yes, after looking at this policy and discussing it and why it was formed, when it was formed, after Hurricane Katrina, due to I guess assumption that a lot of trailer was gonna be put into the neighborhoods. I think it's a good idea that we get rid of this trailer park policy and looking at getting rid of the fencing, the shrubbery, the parking. And there's also a phase in there that says the owner must give a list of everyone staying in the trailer park. I'd like to take that out also. With that being said, I'm not on the committee to make a motion or anything like that, but I think we need to have if you want to do that, you have to have a public hearing.
Put up can of worms there, you know, you gonna put any kind of trailer parking next to the next home?
Jeff, you say any kind of trailer park, but let's do it. If you got a house and you don't want a trailer next to it, that's why you're building a subdivision.
Yeah, but some of these old subdivisions don't have restrictions like the new ones have.
Okay, these people are spending $100,000 on trailers and you can tell them where they can put them. We don't have zoning in our parish. Okay, so how can we tell people what they can and cannot put on their property?
Where they can put it.
How you put them?
Can't hear you, big guy.
Yeah, but you want to tell them, okay, you gotta put up a private fence, but you can go put 2 or 3 houses or 4 houses on a property, you don't need a fence. But if because the mobile home, you want to put all that up.
Houses on the property,
Yeah, if it's big enough, you can do what you want.
not mobile homes.
So what? That's right, because it's not mobile homes, you can do what you
Some of the
want.
mobile
So
homes
now,
is better than the houses. don't
yeah,
they?
so now you
Bad
said,
about it
Yes,
is,
man.
this is what happens. When they build a trailer park like that, they start bringing in all kind of trashy trailers, and that's right next to some nice homes, and that's why we did the ordinance to start with, because of that. If it would all be brand new, nice trailers, that's fine, but it's never that's never the case.
sir, when you ride up and down in Assumption Parish, you see raggedy houses all over, you see raggedy trailers, you see this, you see that. People get what they can afford. And I don't think that this jury have a right to tell people, okay, because your trailer not a brand new trailer, you can't put it here.
We're not saying that.
You just say you don't want a trailer come inside a nice home. You don't want that trailer come inside your home, building a subdivision with restrictions.
What's the year model, trailer that don't we have
It's,
that meet code?
I think it has to do with the wind rate.
Wind zone.
One reason.
Yeah,
And,
So we're talking about manufactured home parks right now. Travel trailer parks is a little different. So I don't know if y'all would want to get rid of that. If
We
y'all
don't
decide-
talk about travel trailer park.
We're talking about
manufactured home.
Manufactured home.
trailers, you know, like two driveways and stuff like that, you know, so.
I'll tell you what,
No.
I'll tell you what. I got a motion on the floor to call for a public hearing at the next meeting to abolish the ordinance.
Well, but you can't, like, so
don't
there's,
think you would
you
need
gotta
to
be
abolish it.
specific
Well,
about.
parts of the
what you
ordinance.
wanna take out.
Parts of-
Parking, the
Yeah,
fence.
it's not abolished.
No, not abolish it.
We have somebody, we have Ricky Langer here, that's, has a trailer park, he can kind of tell us what's going on in the parish, when we have trouble with. Ricky,
Well, he only got a certain item that he dealing with. We talking about,
But let me just, so I can tell you 20 or 30 years ago, we had trailer parks that had, 20 to 40 trailers in it. That business model just doesn't work now. We don't have that type of development
Look at the
now.
trouble you had with the one on
coming-
308. That's your order.
The big problem that we've had
That's mine.
recently
It's abandoned, though.
has been trailers that have been located on public rights of way that have individual entrances that fall underneath the trailer park ordinance when they're really residential lots on the road. It's not a single entrance trailer park with multiple trailers in it. I don't think we need to abolish the ordinance in its entirety. I think we need to review it and see to make sure that the intent is met. If there's, the example that you brought up last time in Belrose, we have lots that are, 20,000 square foot lots with one trailer on it. And we're considering that a trailer park. I think that's the distinction in there we need to make to clear up the ordinance, but not to abolish the ordinance completely. Because there's some good information in there regarding the trash requirements and the water requirements, the road requirements, to be
And
up to
don't want
certain
to take those
standards.
items at all. Basically, I was talking about the parking, the fencing, shrubbery, and then Justin asked me about the list of names of people staying in the trailer park. He said they don't even ask for that anyway, but it's in there.
Sure, and I'm fine with bringing some recommendations for modifications to the ordinance, but,
Just simplify it.
Does that help in maybe keeping count with who's paying water and who's not?
No, that has nothing to do with paying water.
Totally
I don't know.
different.
I don't know why that was even put in there. It's not being enforced, not even being asked for when they, somebody come to the jury. So he actually, we take that part out. I didn't.
yeah, it's a list of like the model number and y'all can look through it. It's on the. Yeah, like 26 is just a bunch of information that we don't even ask the owner to keep or ask them for it. So if we were changing it.
so maybe if Justin, if you can collect comments from the jurors for potential modifications to the ordinance, then we can present that at a public hearing and see how we can.
Well, you can't have a public meeting till you know what you're gonna do.
Right, so
Yeah, so I'll get it together, come to y'all, and then if y'all are in agreement, then we can have the public hearing.
Yeah, do it that way.
okay.
Justin, do it as a Word document, which strikes out in red and things like that. That way it's easy for
Track
everybody.
changes.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
all right. Next item, request approval of variance from manufactured home park fence requirements on the property located at 140A Highway 1011, Ward 4, Ricky Landry.
So this kind of has to do with what we're talking about. He has two properties, two rental properties that were never made into mobile homes because they were in existence before this ordinance was there. And so it says when you make any modification, whether you move a mobile home out and bring a new one in, you have to bring it up to the standards of the mobile home park now. And that's basically what he's trying to do to two properties, is bring new mobile homes in and take some older ones out. And that would require him coming up to everything that's in the policy. And what he's asking for is.
Variance.
Yeah, variances.
He's taking an old trailer
That's
out,
some
put a new trailer in. I think we ought to give him variance on that. You know,
Yeah.
That's.
And it's all existing stuff. This stuff was done, I bought them as trailer parks. Everything was done on them before. There was no fences or anything like that.
He was grandfathered.
And the people are there or used of it being there,
Not complaining.
not complaining, In one case, I have a chain link fence. They want me to take it down and put a privacy fence. I mean, that's been there for 20 years.
When you say they want you to take it down, who does?
The
ordinance.
parish.
The ordinance.
Oh, the ordinance, okay.
So for the first one, at Highway 1011, he's asking for, I think they probably already have the parking.
Right.
But he's asking for variance from the fence, because there's nothing around it, and it's a big piece of property. The one in Pierre Part on 134 Mary Ann Street is a smaller piece of property. He said he was gonna add more parking anyway, but he just didn't want to do it, kind of want to do it on his own timeline and not, you know,
Yeah, and
not
it
before.
can be done now. As far as for that goes, I need to do that anyway.
Yeah, and he's
But
trying to,
when you get down to the fence is already there. It's
Yeah,
a chain link fence.
they do have a chain link.
And it's a property he bought a long time ago,
Right.
not nothing brand new.
Okay, do we have a motion for the variance?
So move.
By Jeff,
Second.
second by Ron, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That takes care of both of them?
Let's have a separate vote.
All right, we'll have a vote on number 10. Motion by Jeff,
Yes.
second by Ron, all in favor? Opposed? They both pass.
Good, thank you.
Update on the Tacopah landing.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen. On Attackable Landing, the contractor was working up through last week. They were currently installing the fixtures and so forth on the restrooms. The internet has been brought in. It does need to be finalized and cleaned up, but right now they have a temporary line providing a service. The contractor still has to install the proposed camera systems and so forth. But he is progressing forward with the building. I don't have an estimated time frame from him yet on his final completions of those items, because I believe he's still waiting on some of those materials and fixtures to arrive in the restrooms.
Do we have any open RFIs or?
Not at
anything?
this time. The only thing that we have outstanding, and I spoke to Mr. Poirier earlier, and he can speak to it, is I think they're having a meeting or a discussion tomorrow with the attorneys as far as the path forward regarding the concrete cap as discussed.
That's it?
That's all I have on the tax.
All right, courthouse.
That,
Brian,
sorry.
Yeah.
So yesterday, Mr. Diaz and myself attended a meeting with Mr. Jerry Abear to discuss the courthouse renovations, but we basically said we need to come up with a project scope. What does the project entail completely? But we are gonna phase it as like a phase one, restroom renovations, bathroom renovations upstairs, downstairs. And phase two would be some other repairs that are necessary exterior, because we have to seal the building. We have to seal the outside walls, the windows, we have change outs. Mr. Jared them says they would come up probably about the 19th. Some type of formulated project scope, but more said Tuesday of the following week, we would get some more information. And I went, it's gonna move forward, but there's a lot of things we need to do. We made temporary repairs to the stairwell as asked. We painted it to prevent it, protect our constituents the best we could. We just need a generalized project scope. We need to know what it details. They're gonna send us a proposal as to what it's gonna cost to bring these people in and look at the building, inspection, inner walls for termites and different things. We discovered some things that were really rough as we were making some temporary repairs. So we need to really evaluate the building to understand where we're at. And they're gonna send us a proposal on it. And the roof has been completed. As you said, we had a little change order. We done there, but we sealed on the outside for now until we complete the exterior portion of the building. But that's where we're at for now. Once we receive some of these reports or proposals to do that, I'll bring it to the jury and let you guys know where we at with it and what the actual scope of the project will be.
Good, okay. All right, update on Jolie Moore Street drainage project.
Yes, since we've updated those contracts and so forth for the last meeting, we are scheduling, bid dates for those projects. They will be set for to start advertisement after the first of the year. Especially with those projects, you've got a lot of, HDPE pipe that's gonna be put in the ground. That is almost directly tied to the cost of fuel, and we're seeing a drop in the cost of fuel. And I have a lot of vendors that are not really willing to hold their price through the end of the year because they want to know that volatility. So that's why we think it's in our best interest to go ahead and proceed with advertising that project after the first. I think you're going to get a better, from the looks of things, it looks like you're going to get a better price because the prices of those materials should be dropping.
Why are you going with that pipe, Joseph?
It's the double wall plastic pipe.
Corrugated
Parish
pipe
uses.
you're talking
Yes,
about? Okay.
yes. So it's the same plastic pipe that the parish uses.
Okay.
The engineering and specifications are complete for this project?
For the Delmar Street, yes, sir. That was one, we had done that a while back. In fact, we met with Mr. Blankenship out there. They had some changes and so forth in the back. My office made those changes. We've basically been kind of in a holding pattern because I know there was some discussion regarding being able to pay the contract administration fees, which you all handled and put out an RFQ that is going through GIS. You then asked us to go back and basically look at our engineering design contracts that was brought forth to you all. You approved them and set forth, so we're moving forward.
Sure, I guess I'm just not clear. You mentioned that you would be going out for bid for it. I thought the bid administration was part of that RFQ.
Well, we're gonna coordinate with them to set the bid date is I guess what
Okay.
You know, but I can get with GIS after the first of the year and you know, provide the documents, and you all will have sets of all of that, of course, as well. So it'll be ready to move forward. I should put it that way. I didn't mean to overspeak.
Okay, update on Bertrandville Drainage Canal Project.
That project, in particular, if you all know, we went out to bids. Those bids were terminated because a large portion of the project had been done by the landowner. They are, as I understand it, from discussions with your Public Works Department and this jury, is that the remaining portion of what needs to be done, we're gonna move that scope to the back end. And that work is probably gonna be completed in-house with the use of a long reach machine and so forth. And my office will assist as far as the elevations and so forth that we have and provide that to your Public Works Department.
Do we have a time frame on when those plans?
Those plans is basically, as I understand it right now, you all have paid, there are some outstanding like we didn't bill 100% on that yet. So once I find out what the final, where they want a start and stop point, if you will, on the new section, I'll coordinate and turn over the information that I have. Because I don't know if you're gonna do that in-house, you just need elevation points and you need direction on how to clean and so forth in accordance with any permits. You don't need a new design per se. And there's no point in you spending additional engineering funds.
We just need the inverts and the cross sections.
Correct. That's what I'm telling you. You just need invert, or that's what I was saying. You just need survey points on end and so forth. I just need to know the start and stop points. That
As I recall, we had already discussed where the stop would be at the Highway 403 crossing.
The bridge by Hollywood over there?
The first bridge.
The first bridge, Highway 403 crossing. That wasn't communicated with you? I thought that.
I apologize if I missed that. I will get with Public Works and I'll get those inverts. I'll get those inverts over to them. If that's the endpoint that you all want to proceed with, they can then coordinate on how they have to rent the Long Beach machine and the time for doing it.
What percentage of these plans have you got completed?
As I said, the original scope was done and completed and put out to bid.
So you should have the plans in everything that we need, the cross sections and everything that we need.
Yes, but that was on a different section of the canal. They are now moving to a different section. I do have the start inverts from where we left the old one, and I will get them an invert for the proposed finish point, and I will assist them in any way I can. It's not I'm not charging you any additional money. My point is, they didn't need another full-blown set of plans to do it in-house. They just need inverts along there. So we're gonna be assisting them that underneath the existing scope that I have under that contract. And I can complete that with whatever, I mean, there's not much money left in there, but I don't see any reason to charge any additional fees with regards to that, since we're not gonna be providing you a full plan. You just need an invert for your excavator to follow.
Any idea on the amount that you have charged us to this day on this project?
To be honest with you, I have to go back and look at that contract. I can certainly provide you with an update. I can send you those documents. They should have my final the last invoices and everything I sent.
I just don't know it offhand.
Yeah, I just don't know that off the top of my head, but I'll certainly get it and provide it to you.
But to get these numbers of these, the remaining numbers that we need, there's no charge, correct?
Unless something additional is requested, as far as if I've got to go get additional invert shots from a surveyor or so forth, there's no cost coming from my office as far as design. I can't speak to whether if you all need another a surveyor to go out there and hit additional points, but we'll determine that. But that would be a direct cost that is something you can do directly through your public works department. You don't need to, there's no point in doing additional engineering on that.
Okay. Update on Gerald Street levy project.
Gerald Street levy project, I was actually contacted today by DNR. We are working on the final, they asked for an updated HMIA analysis. This is something I had spoken with you all before we had moved the boundaries and relocated the levy. We had completed it. Now that we have the relocated levy and so forth, that project is moving forward in the permit process. I responded to them. I should have that finished HMIA in their hands, and I will provide you all a copy of it by, I'm estimating mid-time next week. I have the numbers in place. I just need to check them all and make sure.
Any problem we have with the permits, anything like that?
Not from the DNR side. I have not gotten clearance from the Corps, but with that said, the Corps did say that they were going to be doing, if you recall, they were going to do the wetlands determination for us. And so we're trying to minimize any impacts and get them to match up with DNR's assessment. Because as of right now, I haven't received anything from DNR regarding any negative impacts. So they seem to be moving forward. I will tell you this, within the last, I'd say 2 to 3 months, I've noticed an increase in production in the permits moving forward. They seem to be moving forward faster. I don't know if
New governor.
it could be, trying to get things out before he leaves. I don't know, but they are moving forward a little bit quicker.
The HMIA is the only outstanding item on that permit right now.
That's the only thing I have that's outstanding that's been requested of me from DNR or the Corps at this time. Now, if they come back and send me an email next week or after they review it, we'll continue to address it as
So as soon as they approve, we can move forward with it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, update on ring levies in Pierport and Bell River.
Ring levies in Pierport, I actually received an email around 4 o'clock this afternoon from a Jeremy Rodriguez with the Army Corps of Engineers, following up with me regarding my report to you at the last meeting where they wanted to know whether you wanted to proceed forward with the 0.45 acres of impacts to mitigation, or whether you wanted to redesign the project. I responded to him. I told him that we are currently looking at for your all's instruction, we're looking at the impacts of removing what I'm gonna call the dry ring levees, or those ring levees without the pumps and so forth, to see how close we can get to that 0.1 acres. I hope to have that calculation in. I've got to make a site visit and take some measurements out at those particular sites, and also get some photograph data to send him to try to reduce that as much as we can. But we have a deadline with him to have everything in before December 29th. So I'm pushing to get that. It will be done prior to that. I cannot say that it'll be completed this week, but it will be done prior to the 29th.
Okay, update on Lee Drive project.
Lee Drive project, as it stands right now, the contractor has gone out and as you all probably know at this point, the road has been striped. They have repaired a lot of the anomalies that we noted in the substantial completion walkthrough with you all. Additionally, right now, as it stands, they still have some driveways to address. Approximate count on that, I don't want to hold my feet to the fire here, but I think it's about 9 driveways that they still have to go out and address. And then once they address those, we're going to walk it one more time and make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and they've addressed everything on the punch list.
Did we ever get the elevation shots from your office, turning to the jury?
I will have to follow up on that. I don't remember if we'd gone back and forth several times, Mr. Pondville. I can't tell you off the top of my head when the last time we sent the elevations. I will get you that information.
Did you ever receive the core sample results?
Yes. And I provided those to you.
Did you? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I didn't see them.
Okay, update on Shell Beach.
Hold on, one more thing, Mr. Irvin, on Lee Drive. I'm not satisfied with the outcome of Lee Drive, the final product. I feel y'all should take a ride on Lee Drive and evaluate for yourself before the next meeting.
Did you review the repairs that were done to the crossings by the contractor?
I had an inspector out there. We have not gone and actually taken measurements yet, but I was given in the opportunity to finish everything, and then we would go back and check it again.
Make sure that those measurements do happen, because I think you will find that we have, or what the issues are.
Yes.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, we'll check them. We'll check them. I mean, he's been out there with an infrared machine heating up the asphalt and putting in the making the patches. I know there was one area, and if you all recall, when we rode a couple of weeks ago, there was some debris. I'm gonna say I think it was a plastic water bottle, actually ended up in the pavement. We've gone back and checked. Looks like he's removed that. I haven't seen it again. And so we're gonna walk it again, make sure that there's no more anomalies like that, and make sure everything's done to specification.
It's still within the 45-day window, right?
Yes, sir.
Are we gonna have that ROI study done?
If it's deemed necessary, yes. If it's not, then we can, I'll bring that to you all and determine that. IRI studies are not typically done on smaller parish arterial streets. It is a requirement of DOTD on main thoroughfares and so forth. It's not necessarily always done on a street of the size of Lee Drive.
But the specs to this project was DOTD's.
Follows DOTD standards, correct.
That's all I have.
Okay, update on Shell Beach boat landing.
Shell Beach boat landing, it was a big day for permits, because I received a temporary authorization that they sent out. They sent out an authorization. I forwarded it to you all. With that said, since there were no additional comments, they contacted me today regarding issuing the final permit. They said they were waiting on a remittance of fees. I went online my office had paid those fees. I have receipt of it. I've turned in those receipts to DNR. I've reached out via email and phone call today to the permit coordinator to tell her that, we've paid the fees. I don't know of any other fees. There's nothing being generated on the DNR Sonras website. So we expect to have that permit delivered to us next week. If there are any additional fees, I will then, of course, reach out to Ms. Kim and let her know what that is.
That's for the rock jetty and the.
Yes,
where
yes,
those
sir.
are
That's for the boat launch project. So I expect to have that permit in hand next week.
Okay, Joseph, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn by Jeff, second by Mike, all in favor? Opposed?
Call to order the regular meeting. Police jury is 6:40. To reflect all members are present. Lead us in prayer. God, who teaches us by sending the light of the Holy Spirit into our hearts, grant that by the light of that Spirit, right judgment may be ours, and that we may ever find joy in his guidance. Amen.
Pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the approval of the minutes of November 21st, 2023, and the special meeting of November 29th, 2023. Before we move on that, Mr. Oaker, I had a correction, Ms. Haven, on I believe it was item 6, the November 29th meeting. The amount that was the balance to be distributed in the raises. I believe there was a typo there. It showed 1,800. I think it should have been close to 18,000. Motion by Mr. Alcorn. I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson. Second. To approve the minutes with the noted changes. Second by Mr. Diaz. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment period. Now accept public comment for any item on the agenda. Second call. I'm sorry. Okay.
Mercedes Benoit, 173 Virginia Street, Rose, Louisiana. This is in reference to the employee. I just want some clarification. Employees, they're going to evaluate the supervisors? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have some questions. What tool they're going to use to evaluate the supervisors?
The same form you use it,
Evaluate them.
evaluate them.
I don't think that, I disagree with that, and I'm gonna tell you why I disagree with that. The employees really don't know the full extent of what the supervisor does. And I'm gonna give you an example of that. From what I understand, from what I believe, they're going to go on feelings. Feelings as if to say, my supervisor been whipping the whip. So they're constantly picking on me. So I just disagree with that. That's not fair at all, okay? I think, and I'm gonna get personal right now, I think my work should speak for me when it comes down to evaluating. And what I mean by that, last year, we did a program summary. I hand this out to everybody. This is what the Community and Development Housing Department did last year. The employees, they saw a portion of these clients, but you know who saw all of the clients? That is channeled down to the supervisor, which is me, okay? On top of that, the meetings, the irate customers that we have to deal with, all that is on the supervisor. So it's not fair to let the employee evaluate us and then they're going to determine what we get?
Let me give you a point of clarity here. We're asking for input from the employees. That's only going to be a part of the evaluation. The jury is going to complete the evaluations. You're going to be notified of next week's meeting that we're going to go into executive session with each of the employees to discuss their performance as a jury. The information provided by the employees is just a tool for us to use. We have other questions that are going to be asked of you in that same evaluation time. We have to get information from the employees that are there. They are the employees that are there throughout the entire workday. We are not there to supervise and accurately identify what's going on. This only allows us to have information to ask you questions. We're gonna be talking to you directly about the information that we receive.
I still don't agree with that because the employees, again, the employee doesn't know the full extent of
And
what.
you will have an opportunity to let us know that whenever your evaluation is being discussed.
Makes a valid point.
Yeah, she does, 100%.
I take a lot of phone calls from y'all all the time, 365, and my employees don't know that how much I deal with y'all from the phone
Right, but
calls.
just know, the employees are not determining if the supervisors get a raise or not, it's the jury. We're seeking input, this is a mechanism for us to seek input.
Tool for us to use.
Yeah, but you're gonna take their opinion and use it as a direction to go. Why do it?
So then it will lead to bias.
Correct, you're doing it for a reason.
It's just backwards.
You're using it for a reason.
And
If you're
my
gonna take their
comment,
input, why do it if you're not gonna use their input?
Exactly.
my
You're using
comment
it
on
for.
that is that, when we had to evaluate our employees and we had to look at the job performance to make these evaluations, whether it was easy or hard or indifferent, and we had to do it, and we did it professionally, and we had to meet with them because you all advised that we meet with them and requested it, and we did. But now they are going to be able to do these evaluations of us, and that will be confidential. That I have a problem with.
Correct.
I
Is
have
there
a
some
problem.
cut? Is
I
there
have a
some
problem
other?
with the whole merit system totally. I have addressed it several times. We are in a political arena. Okay, I would have rather saw across the board raises for everybody. Just eliminate all of this. Okay, because whether it's the employee judging the supervisor performance, supervisor judging the employee performance, you're in a political arena, and politics plays a big part no matter how you look at it, go both ways.
Makes an excellent point.
So why are we here? We gotta have our employees to judge what we do.
I agree with you, Mercedes. I agree. Employees, I've been in workforce 50 years and have to
Exactly.
have to grade my boss.
No,
That don't make no sense.
I don't think any of us had
Don't make no
employees.
sense whatsoever. I
You
came
work
on the
for-
tail end, I apologize.
You don't work for the taxpayers over there, though. You work for the taxpayers here.
No, I understand.
But we work for you
Totally
all.
different.
We work for
Totally
you
different.
all.
And we're not here to evaluate
Well,
y'all.
I
every day.
understand that, but we need to have measurable goals to look at that. And as Mercedes stated, operations and our task in the office should stand for
Should
something.
stand for what y'all do, because, if I
And-
call
and, you know-
you or call her, if I ain't satisfied,
If
I
I
let
don't
you
call,
know.
return your calls, and that should
That's
be
right,
noted.
that's right.
All right,
So
Kim?
you do, so I never have no problem.
If that's the case, but then you evaluate the department heads.
But that is no different than you evaluating us, because you're saying that you're not here to see. I don't know what Paul deals with every day. I know what Paul shares with me, what he deals with. I know what what I hear is going on that side. It's merely hearsay. So that's not a fair evaluation. I wouldn't be afraid to do it if I knew what they were doing on a daily basis. Honestly, I do not.
She doesn't know. You know who knows the full extent of what I do?
Who is that?
My results. Last year, when I went to a conference, we got an appreciation. Assumption Parish Police Jury Office for being the most recognized improved agency. And I don't toot my horn, but it's not just what the employees say. My employees, and neither one of you know that there are certain standards that I have to, that's required in order for us to stay in compliance. Have any one of you received a call from Baton Rouge saying that we're not in compliance? That we have not spent the money or the funds that we were supposed to spend? Matter of fact, we got additional money last year for doing what we were supposed to do in a timely fashion.
I think we need to revisit this, guys.
Yes.
We've always taken each supervisor to each department. And when they're not doing a good job, it surfaces. And then we do something about it. her department, we've done something about that 2 or 3 times already in the past. And we're their bosses, I guess you could say. We do the hiring for them, and it should be for us to evaluate them, not the employees. Because if you have disgruntled employees, they're not going.
And Chris brings up a valid point. It's a political arena. We all know that.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother factor that we have to deal with, knowing it's a political arena. I mean, there are employees, and unless we laying it on the table, let's be honest, there are employees we have to tiptoe around. There are employees that we have to allow certain things versus others that don't have that allowance. Because it's a political arena. But that is another battle that we have to deal with as supervisors. And you all, I know you're aware of it, but sometimes I think you forget about it.
Right, but the other thing that I want to make sure everybody understands is we were, discussed the wall between the jurors and individual employees. We're not supposed to be out there having conversations with individual employees about their supervisors. This is the only mechanism that we can have those employees convey their issues to us, and not just issues. No one says this has to be a negative evaluation. There could be a positive evaluation out of this. I don't think anyone should be afraid of what's coming forth. The jury is the one that's going to take this information and use it.
And I
we
agree.
we have to get that information from the employees if
I
we
agree,
can't contact
but
them
if that
outside of a meeting.
information is going to be constructively used, then I need to know if there is any negativity in there, what I can do to improve. If
Well,
I'm not
definitely.
aware of that,
No,
then
and
what's
that is the
purpose
process
of
so
it?
that we can go through that information and
But
bring it
if
to
it's
you.
confidential, and that, again, that's my issue with it. It has to be, we have to know, otherwise we can't improve.
No, you know the
You will know.
information, but you may not know the person that the information
That's
came
fine.
from.
You will
know.
And
We
who
wanna
said
try to
that
make it
person gonna
better
be telling
for
the truth?
everyone.
Again, my work should speak for me, not the employee.
Through the years, we did cross the board raises. We didn't have all these issues, because we knew that we're dealing with politics. So we did a cross the board raise, cost of living raise, and whatever other rest raise we did across the board. And I think everybody was satisfied. But now we got certain employees, certain supervisors that want to put more money into this one pocket and that one pocket. So now we're cutting other people out of their raises. And just to make it fair, do the cross the board raise and eliminate all this other stuff we're talking about.
How is that making it fair, Chris? That's not making it fair.
All right, let's go. We're on the public comment right here and
Right,
we're
that
discussing
should
as a jury.
last for 5
Any other
minutes.
public comment or items on the agenda? Last call. Finance Committee report. Finance Committee met at 4:45 today. We approved to pay the list of bills submitted through December 8th, 2023. We approved the request for the salary code changes for Donna Guilfoyle and Haven Sedatow at 50% from general fund, 50% from 1%. We approved the 2024 boat launch lease renewal with Terry Blanchard. We approved the 2024 boat launch lease renewal with Ricky Landry. We approved the 2024 polling place contract renewals. We approved the 2024 jail physician contract renewal with Dr. Keith Landry. We approved countering the Assumption ARC's 4% with a 3% increase for the annual, and that will be reported back to us at our next regular meeting. And we discussed the raises for the employees that are retiring.
Motion to accept your report.
Motion.
Well, we had some deviations.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We had two deviations, the change order for the courthouse repairs and the ACAP training in February.
Right, both of those items were approved. Motion by Mr. Nakhan. Second by Mr. Como, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Personnel Committee, Chairman Diaz.
Personnel Committee met at 5:01. We approved to end the probationary period for Ms. Haven Sedatow, effective December 15th, 2023. We approved to have the employees evaluate department heads, road and bridge supervisors, and administration staff. We tabled number 3, and we approved the grants coordinator position. I present this all in the form of a motion.
Let me interject something here. It's gonna be a little contradictory to what Mr. Carter was saying. And I know it's something that we've already established, but I will ask, from the department heads, based on what we came up on from the last meeting, with dividing the funds from what we had left over from each department. You all feel good about that? That's what I'm asking. Or do you all, if I were to propose something else, I'll ask, how does that sound to you? For instance, were you able to give everybody relative to those that seem as though you disagree with, Mr. Carter, no disrespect? There's those that have done exceptionally well. And was there some that you intended to give more to? I'm asking you all that.
Okay.
Ms. Mercedes, I'm asking you all, was that so? Because before you answer that, I also would ask you guys, and I'm not saying that we can do it because it may not be able to cover all, but on a one-time basis, I will ask. If there is some lack, if we do not have enough to cover those folk that have done extremely well, what is it for us, or what's the likelihood of us taking $1,000 or perhaps $2,000 from our drainage fund, if in fact we could do it for these increases for these individuals? I wish to say from a drainage perspective, in most of our areas, all we're doing is replacing covers, or we saving funding for a match and so forth. I would wish that you realize that we've put covers throughout the parish. There should not be a great deal of covers outside of what we're doing through Gomesa and other projects that we have. That you take those $30,000 and that equates to $270,000, maybe add another $30,000 from the drainage fund and do all those significant projects that you have in-house. You've got guys that are working that have done some really tremendous work in a neighborhood of probably $400,000 or greater in terms of levy improvements that we've got throughout the parish. If we take $2,000 each, that would be $18,000 that you guys can divvy up, U.S. management, supervisor personnel, and pay those persons the dollars that y'all feel they deserve. I would be in favor of that.
The problem with that is the restriction of funds on drainage.
Yeah.
The problem with that is you can only pay drainage funds for drainage, so it can't be used to
Based
divvy up
on, based on what?
based on the tax.
Based on the tax.
That's what the proposition states, correct? Correct.
There's no, absolutely no exceptions we can make to that.
No, this tax money, that's been voted on by the voters. And in regards to how we came up with these overages and the numbers we looked at, I know Mercedes and I, we work together on our numbers because we share 2 employees, and she and I share 2 employees. And we got our employees, in addition to Mr. Tommy, and I think Paul as well, we got our employees at a minimum first to where their original evaluation would have gotten them. And then we looked at the remaining funds, and then we picked those individuals that we felt went above and beyond and distributed those funds. If that answers your question.
All right.
And mine wasn't so much above and beyond, but for the ones that I have, it was bringing them up to that 6% that we originally listed.
Mr. Diaz, your report's in form of a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ponville, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Insurance Committee report, Chairman Alcorn.
Yeah, Insurance Committee met this afternoon. All members are present. 3 items on the agenda. Item 1 was tabled until the next meeting. Item 2, we discussed case number 038396, Assumption Parish Police Jury versus Road. There was a motion to approve the tenure of the SIR. And item number 3 was tabled. I give you these items in the form of a motion.
Motion by Chairman Alcorn. Second by Mr. Johnson, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Engineering Grants Committee, Chairman.
Yes,
Como.
the Engineering Grant Committee met this afternoon. All members were present. We'll give it an update from the grants coordinator, and we approved additional matching funds in the amount of $22,500 for Ward 9 Recreation to cover the FP&C fees for Shell Beach boat launch. We approved the resolution to ratify the president signing the contract with Infinity Engineering for the water sector program, as discussed in the engineering committee meeting on November 8th, 2023. We approved regulations and considered regulations for 200-.324 contract, vote and cost and price, and 200.325 federal awarding agency or pass-through entity review in the personnel manual to meet the CDBG procurement policy requirements. We approve the president to sign the cooperative endeavor agreement between Assumption Parish Police Bureau, Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office, giving the Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office possession and ownership of the Starlink satellite-based mobile equipment. We approve the president to sign a CRI, Community Readiness Initiative contract. We approve the variance for the manufactured home park fence requirement on the property located at 140A Highway 1011, Ward 4. We approve the multiple variance from manufactured home park requirements on the property located at 134A Marion Street in Ward 9.
Excuse me, Mr. Justin, for the resolution, are you gonna be able to get me a list of the multiple variances so they can be listed specifically?
He requested,
Well, I mean, you can, not right now, but just for the resolution. Okay.
And we were given an update on the Tacopah, Landon Courthouse renovation, Jolimar Street drainage, Bertrandville Drainage Canal, Gerald Street levee project, ring levees in Pierpont and Bell River, Lee Drive project in the Shell Beach boat landing, and that's all in the form of a motion.
The motion by Mr. Como. Second by Mr. Mathern, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of amendments to CEA for the implementation of the Louisiana State Uniform Construction Code for Louisiana between APPJ and South Central Planning and Development Commission.
Who put this on? Who put this on?
Who call you?
So if it makes reference to the state uniform construction code, do you see any variance, anything different, something?
I don't know what this is about.
table. So I don't know who put it on here, but Mr. Kevin couldn't make it today, but he can be here next week. So whoever
We'll
put it
table
on
until our next meeting.
Next year.
Request approval to ratify the minutes of November 8, 2023.
I think Ms. Haven supplied you all with a copy of the revision.
Yes, right.
There would need some clarification on the engineering.
Motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Discuss and clarify the distance specified in the discharge of firearms ordinance section 15-2.
Yes, we have somebody that's making a complaint to the sheriff's office. So the sheriff's office is asking us what was our intent? And everybody seems to be on a different page. So we just need some clarification. Is the intent from property line or from the home? That's what.
I discussed it with the sheriff and I also discussed it with the individual that's raising the question here. And the way that it's written, it references residents. It doesn't make any reference to property line. I wasn't here when the ordinance was put in place. But it seems reasonable that it's measured from the residents. The individual said that he would work on some language and bring to the jury and suggest some changes to that ordinance if we want to consider changing it. But as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty clear that it's from the residents, not from the property line.
And we just need some direction.
I think it should be changed. I mean, people got property way out in the woods. You know, if you hunt back in the woods against that property and you shoot a gun, but then you're violation.
I understand, and that's why I believe it was the residents, not the property line.
That's why it was worded back then as resident.
That's resident, yeah.
And that's where the sheriff is having the issue, because we didn't properly define residence, where he's taking it as a home site. So the distance that would be measured wouldn't be the property line as your residence, it would be the home site as the property line. But again, when I was reading through the transcript of the electronic communication, if it's 300 feet or 375 feet, I don't know if it's gonna actually matter to this particular individual. So we can have him present some information relative to how we can better shape the ordinance. But I'm wondering if it's really gonna help us with this particular problem. We may have to develop a strategy in terms of if you have an actual shooting table versus someone just firing a weapon out in the open, we might have to have a discussion. I know years ago, before Mr. Blanchard was on the
We had
jury,
that problem in the old back
again,
there.
it was something that just was never resolved. So
Yeah,
it
someone had a
might be
gun
something that
range.
now is the time to do that.
Well, at least we know now what to inform those that ask. It's a residence structure.
Item 12, request approval of the first phase of derelict structure procedure for dwelling located at 279 Vivian Street in the By Lewis community.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Como. Second by Mr. Diaz. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of an occupational license for Phoenix Field Consultants, Morgan City, and Skin Etiquette by T. Brown, Belrose.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carter.
Second.
Second by Mr. Como. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed. Approved 2024 annual bids for the Road and Bridge Department and mosquito abatement. Those bids were provided to you tonight.
Any new bidders on this list? Any new bidder?
Yes, the aggregates was a new bidder. Like Slate's, Lucas Ag. Actually, they won the bid for they had the lowest prices for the 610 and 57 limestone. About a Sunshine Bridge.
Justin, how does this mosquito abatement chemical price come in line from like this year, 2023?
I didn't compare that. The aerial spraying a couple cents, but I mean, you're doing them a lot, so. The actual price of what we normally spray, probably not more. But I did want to switch it up this year, and most everything else is more expensive than what we normally.
We remember we running in a deficit next year, so.
Well, I know, we'll bring it back to them after the first.
Okay.
Paul, as far as the material and all that's being delivered, like this year, everything's been going good on time and.
Correct. I ordered loads yesterday. I got them today. Road gravel and 610. So everything's good on that.
Fill material also, sand and dirt?
Yes.
Same thing.
Motion to accept the 2024 annual bids by Mr. Carter.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request a street light at 720 and 722 Brewley Road.
Back at 7:30, 7:32. It's been like district, but don't need a engineer study, so moved. So it's not 722? Yeah, 722 is incorrect? 7:30 and 7:32. They knocked it down, but they never.
I'll add it to the next agenda. All right, motion by Mr. Nakam.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to appoint Torrey Oliver Senior to the Ward 1 Recreation Board to replace Philip Allen.
Motion, a second.
Mike, just clarification, can you just replace somebody without?
Yeah, you gotta
Well, I always
resign.
thought they had to resign.
What's the situation here? Tell me what the circumstances again.
I think they just want to replace.
You gotta resign. You gotta get a letter from resign first.
But they serve at your pleasure, so I mean,
Exactly.
you can, I think they can be removed. I don't see any reason why they can't be removed.
Okay, just making sure. Okay.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to remove recreation for Ward 4 from capital outlay. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, at the last meeting, I know there was some additional support I was looking for from capital outlay. At the very same time, I spoke of, we didn't realize that this would affect that, so I've asked that those funds be removed from that and have them go to wards 1 and 6, so divide it up into two by wards 1 and 6. And y'all see fit, help Myron out.
Okay, keep in mind, it won't be the application amount, it'll only be the balance in the.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
So withdrawing,
Why?
we're withdrawing
No.
the capital outlay application?
There is I don't foresee funding coming under the administration is coming forward. Yes, I'm withdrawing.
You want to take your balance of your recreation fund?
I've said it multiple times, yes.
You want to repeat it. You want to take your balance of your recreation fund?
What you was applying for through capital outlay?
Yes.
So,
How much was the application?
so hold on, I just
Megan might know.
want to make sure this capital outlay project was for Monterey Park restroom improvements.
That's correct.
So we no longer need the improvements at the restrooms at
Yes,
Monterey Park?
yes, we do. Here's where I'm telling you, I do not see the funds coming forth in the change of arms. And yes, that's what I want to do with those funds. And I do know what I'm intending to do here.
I need you to repeat what you want to do. You want to drain your recreation fund that's current and give them to Ward 1 and Ward 6? Is that?
Clearly, and I spoke last time for some projects also that they have that's pending. That is correct.
I'm opposed to that. I mean, you got a new guy coming in, you're gonna drain the fund? You make your motion.
I was drained.
Huh?
Leroy and I, we was drained.
I was drained.
The whole thing that, my issue here, Pat, is that you
Everybody
needed these
uses it.
restaurants for your people. Okay, being that you're leaving now, your people don't need these restrooms anymore?
You guys are missing the point, and I don't have to reveal everything, but I can say it again. I don't expect to go anywhere. Okay?
Well, the jury,
Okay.
the jury, so in order for you to make your request,
I just asked for a
the
second.
jury would have to retract the capital outlay
That's correct.
application to Monterey
That is
Park.
correct.
If you
I
need
think
the
what their
restaurants,
question
you
is,
need it
Pat,
now.
is even if this grant don't come through for them restrooms, you still need some restrooms. So you could look for another grant, or you could use that money maybe to do some kind of renovation for the restrooms. I think that's what they talked about.
So the first item, we need to entertain a motion to withdraw the capital outlay project, capital outlay application to the state.
That is good.
Is that your motion? A motion by Mr. Johnson to retract the capital outlay Monterey Park restroom improvement project.
Second.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
Second by Mr. Alcorn. In favor?
Aye.
I vote in favor of that.
Opposed?
I'm opposed to that.
I'm opposed to it also. All right,
But
so
Ward 4, the capital outlay, it's not gonna happen.
How you know?
That's what he read, it's not gonna happen.
Okay, the vote been made.
Guys, I've already spoken to folks relevant to that. So that's, I mean, I'm not gonna reveal all that to you, so.
all right, so now we no longer, we're gonna retract the application.
That's done already, right?
by
You just did
vote.
it.
I understand. Is there another motion that you want to put on the floor?
Yeah, I make a motion that, as I stated earlier, that the remaining of my funds from the recreation be divided between one
That's not
and
his
six.
funds, that's the parish funds.
Okay, 1 and 6.
There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Johnson that he divide his available recreation allocation between wards 1 and 6.
That's correct.
There's a second?
I'm a second.
Second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed. Opposed? 5 opposed.
I mean,
You would oppose?
you opposing.
Yeah, I do. You don't even.
No, you probably won't give you no money. That's what it is. So he got mad. Ain't that
We're going around, come around, bro.
Motion failed. Item 18, request funding assistance from Viola Foods Freshwater District for the HMPG match. So I put this on the agenda and I'm requesting approval from the jury to approach Viola Foods Freshwater District with the possibility of seeing if, so we have these HMPG funds that we're looking for, match funds, but it has to be local dollars.
But it's not
So
it's HMGP, but.
HMGP.
Right.
I'm sorry. So we're looking for some local dollars to match so that we can use these funds on the projects that we have. I'm just asking for permission to talk to the director of the Lafourche Freshwater District to see if maybe there's a project that we can apply some of the funds that we have that are federal funds to one of their projects, and they can maybe help us with their local funds to match this.
I agree with that. Right. We've identified in a resolution what we're gonna use those funds for.
Right.
Well, that'll be once they discuss.
Right,
Yeah.
we have to discuss it first. I just wanted to
Bring it
approve
back
from the
before the
jury to
jury.
discuss it with them.
Right.
Motion to proceed.
Second.
Motion received by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Pineville, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval for 3-month pump rental for Verta Street Project 93087 in the amount of $312.32.
So this item was on a previous agenda and we tabled it. So there was actually no overage on the Verta Street project. It was actually returned prior to its rental period, so there was a credit, so we can disregard this. The actual request is to request approval for $1,848.61 from Ward 4 for an emergency pump rental that we had during a rain event. We had a pump engine that failed. We rented a pump for Lower Texas in an emergency situation. It was about 11, 12 o'clock on a Friday night. And I'm requesting that we pay that $1,848.61 out of Ward 4 drainage.
Well,
Mr. Blanchard,
I know.
we'll have to deviate for that
I
item.
know.
That isn't item 19, so.
I spoke to Ms. Kim about it earlier, so that's why.
So item 19, you said is no action?
No action.
All right. So now, do you have a deviation for the board to consider?
Yes, I have a deviation for the board to consider and to request approval from Mr. Johnson, Ward 4, and the amount of $1,848.61 for an emergency pump rental.
You need a motion to deviate?
Motion deviate.
Motion by Mr. Mathern, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
Gotta move
Opposed?
faster. I understand that, but.
All right, now we can hear you.
All right, now, so we had an emergency pump rental. I'm requesting approval for the amount of $1,848.61 from Ward 4 drainage for that emergency pump rental.
Kim, that's coming from the drainage, that's coming from the drainage district. There is a established district, and there is funding. There is funding, so.
I don't know where
That is where,
adjustment
that
from
is
the
where that is where that typically would come from. And that is what we,
The Monterey Drainage District?
No, it'd be Lower Texas.
It'd be Lower Texas,
Lower
but
Texas.
we've never rented an emergency pump that since I've been here out of a drainage district fund.
No,
It always
they
been-
now have a district and they now have funding. But it's gonna all come out to the same thing because basically you allocated at the last meeting your remaining funds to Lower Texas. So if this project is gonna get approved, we need to retract that portion to cover it.
Right.
So if we can get approval on both of those.
perfect.
So to get that,
So we have a motion by Mr. Johnson to
Allocate $1,800,
repeal $1,848.61
Lord
from
Texas.
the allocation to Lower Texas to be used for the payment of the emergency pump.
Correct.
Second by Mr. Alcorn.
No, they didn't use it yet.
All in favor? Oh, sorry.
Oh, public comment.
Public comment?
Yeah, y'all. don't
Second
move
call? Last call. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Motion adjourned by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Remember we meet next Tuesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Okay.